Okay, I'll begin. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Paripurajaka Ashtottara Sri Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shyam Mukund Radha Kundigiri Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavan Tham Ki Jai, Navadip Tham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Jamana Mai Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.
Welcome everybody to Srimad Bhagavatam with His Holiness Jayādvaita Swami. It is Tuesday, August 19th in 2025. Today we're starting with Srimad Bhagavatam 4:21:6. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, I'll start off with text 6 of chapter 21. Ujita Pujayam Asa Tatra Tatra Mahayasa Paran Janapadams Tams Tan Prita Priyavara Prada. Translation. Both the important citizens and the common citizens welcomed the king very heartily, and he also bestowed upon them their desired blessings. Purport. A responsible king was always approachable by his citizens. Generally, the citizens, great and common, all had an aspiration to see the king and take benediction from him. The king knew this, and therefore, whenever he met the citizens, he immediately fulfilled their desires or mitigated their grievances. In such dealings, a responsible monarchy is better than a so-called democratic government in which no one is responsible to mitigate the grievances of the citizens, who are unable to personally meet the supreme executive head. In a responsible monarchy, the citizens had no grievances against the government, and even if they did, they could approach the king directly for immediate satisfaction. Guru Maharaj and others, would you like to comment?
Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupakoda Mahyam Dadhati Shapadatika Vande Hang Shri Guru Shri Jatapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Shagrajatam Sahagana Raganatan Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savatutam Rijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Deva Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lolita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabh Bhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindho Pyevacha Tita Nam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vaishnava Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Ram. Here, the word that Srila Prabhupada has, Priyavara Prada, he gave benedictions. And usually we would think of benedictions as being, sort of ashirvads, blessings. May you live a long time, may your business prosper, and so on. Vara means, yes, a benediction, or a boon. Prabhupada translates it that way sometimes. So a boon, a request. We need something. That's really what it is. We have a need. The way a child says, I need this, I want that. We have some need. So the citizens, they may have some need. They have a grievance. There's something they're trying to get done. It's being blocked. There's whatever it is. They have a grievance. They have a problem. They have an issue. They have a need. So, Priya Vara Prada, he was ready to help. He was ready to solve the problem of any citizen. That's the king. The king would feel personally responsible, the way a parent feels responsible for a child, and was personally approachable. The kings would travel from place to place within the kingdom, set up camp, dabar, and any citizen could approach. That was the rule. It would be set up for that purpose. He would tour the kingdom. He had his natural setup, of course. He had his ministers. He had his agents throughout the country. But he would personally travel. And if anyone's had an issue, they could take it directly to the king. And on the spot, the king would solve it. Not that, well, we'll send this to a committee, and the committee will send it to another committee, and they'll do a study, and they'll come back in 5 years and say, we need more information. He would solve it on the spot. That was the king. Prita, yes. So Pujita, yes. Did I give that story one time about how on Padayatra we were stopped, the party was stopped in Varanasi. I don't think I'll tell the whole story, but we went to the district magistrate, who's the local top official for the state district. And even though he had a huge, the Prime Minister of India was coming to visit his district that day, but still he solved our problem. He saw that two sadhus are sitting here, they have a problem, and he on the spot fixed our problem. Felt obliged. These sadhus have come to me. So sadhu or not sadhu, the king would feel obliged to see that all the citizens were happy, that they had what they needed. That was the measurement of the greatness of the king. If his citizens are happy, the kingdom is good. That was the inquiry. You know, you meet a businessman, you ask him, how's your business going? If you meet a Brahmin, how are your studies going? How is your performance of bhajan going? And you meet a king, are your citizens happy? So when the citizens are happy, the king is a good king. So Pujita Pujayamasa, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that he was worshipped and he worshipped others also by giving charity and so on. Mahayasha, Gauran Janapadan. So the noble people, common people, they were all satisfied by the king. Or rather, the king was, I'm not sure actually, Rita, looks like it's the king himself, but not in the translation of purport, I don't think. But he was approachable and he would satisfy them. In the Muslim countries, even today, the same system is there. I'm not sure about today, but traditionally, it was the system that the Muslim ruler would travel to, places like the Middle East. They would travel, and they would feel responsible to solve the problems of the citizens. Today, I'm not sure, but until recent times. Okay.
Saraswati Mataji writes, Pranams Param Puja Maharaj and all the Vaishnavas. Rajaram, Prithvi Maharaj, and even Akbar would go incognito to get a measure of how satisfied the citizens were or learn of any unexpressed problems.
Yes. Apart from holding open court, they would also check out, or this incognito, or is there a problem that I'm not hearing about? Yes, thank you.
Praveen Prabhu writes, there is a pastime that a pigeon and an eagle visited Maharaj Sibi to solve their problem. Also, Vishwamitra visited Maharaj Dasarath for his problem.
Yes, even in the Bible, it's famous that the two women approached Solomon, both claiming motherhood, that they both claiming they were the mother of a child. There was a child, so who's the mother? So they approached King Solomon. You please solve our problem. So that was the system. They could approach the king. They could approach the king, and the king would would solve the problem. in also Arjuna, not Arjuna, a Brahmin whose sons were dying. He approached the palace of Ugrasen, and and then he was bad mouthing. What kind of king is this, where the child is dying before the father? It means there's a bad government. Okay. Anything else? That's mentioned. Any grievances against the government they could approach.
Sham Sindhu Prabhu, are you available to read text 7 or 21:7?
Okay. Sa eva medinyanavadya chestita karma nibuyam siman mahatmaha kurvan savam nimandalam yasaha spitam nidaya vuruhe param. King Prithu was greater than the greatest soul, and was therefore worshipable by everyone. He performed many glorious activities in ruling over the surface of the world, and was always magnanimous. After achieving such great success and a reputation which spread throughout the universe, he at last obtained the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. A responsible king or chief executive has many responsible duties to attend to in ruling over the citizens. The most important duty of the monarch or government is to perform various sacrifices as enjoined in the Vedic literatures. The next duty of the king is to see that every citizen executes the prescribed duties for his particular community. It is the king's duty to see that everyone perfectly executes the duties prescribed for the Varna and Ashrama divisions of society. Besides that, as exemplified by King Prithu, he must develop the earth for the greatest possible production of food grains. There are different types of great personalities. Some are positive great personalities, some comparative, and some superlative. But King Prithu exceeded all of them. He is therefore described here as Mahatamaha, greater than the greatest. Maharaj Prithu was a Kshatriya, and he discharged his Kshatriya duties perfectly. Similarly, Brahmanas, Vaishyas, and Shudras can discharge their respective duties perfectly, and thus at the ultimate end of life be promoted to the transcendental world, which is called Param Padam. Param Padam, or the Vaikuntha planets, can be achieved only by devotional service. The impersonal Brahman region is also called Param Padam, but unless one is attached to the personality of Godhead, one must again fall down to the material world from the impersonal Param Padam situation. It is said, therefore, Aruhya Kritshreyana Param Padam Tata. The impersonalists endeavor very strenuously to achieve the Param Padam, or impersonal Brahmajyoti, but unfortunately, being bereft of a relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they come down again to the material world. If one flies in outer space, he can go very high up, but unless he reaches a planet, he must come down again to Earth. Similarly, because the impersonalists who reach the Param Padam of the impersonal Brahmajyoti do not enter into the Vaikuntha planets, they come down again to this material world and are given shelter in one of the material planets. Although they may attain Brahmaloka or Satyaloka, all such planets are situated in the material world. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasudeva Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Something I think of that's interesting is King Prithu. It says the important duty of the monarch or government is to perform various sacrifices, see that every citizen executes his prescribed duties, and see that everybody is essentially following Varnashram perfectly. As well as in the last verse, that the king's supposed to make sure everyone's happy. I think about our society where it's free reign, do what you want. I guess like do whatever you please leads to people being miserable because there's no direction. Everybody's kind of aimless. But from my understanding, Bhagavatam's presentation of a good king, the king gives everybody direction on what to do according to their position and ensures that they're happy along the way as well. And I think of that principle with simple living, high thinking. If you have an intelligent person who's following God's laws and ensuring you follow them in a way where you don't have to think about it, you can very clearly know the difference between right and wrong. If you just follow the rules, everything will be okay. If you just follow the program set by the king, you'll be elevated and purified simply just by going with the flow. Versus in today's society, going with the flow, from what I've seen and experienced myself, is like a fast track to hell. So it's quite nice that this pious, or not even pious, this righteous monarch system, where all you have to do is follow the king's law and you'll be elevated. Or yeah, you'll be elevated. You'll be elevated to. My understanding of Varnashram is the whole point is to eventually get you to the point where at the end of your life, you can focus entirely on God. So it's following the program, you'll be able to be purified through your life. And then at the end of your life, you'll be primed to meditate on the Lord. And in the second section, I'm actually, the only thing I thought about is the impersonalists work extremely hard. I don't want to say harder than devotees. Devotees work extremely hard, but it seems like they work really, really, really hard just to get to a position that they can't hold on to. What is that analogy I've heard? Is the difference between a monkey and a cat. The monkey has to strain very hard to hold onto the back of the mother. And if it falls off, that's it. Whereas the cat, the mother actually picks it up and lifts it to its destination. It doesn't have to worry about anything. And I think about the impersonalists work extremely hard for a position they can't hold on to because they don't have the strength. They don't have the potency to hold on to impersonal Brahman forever. And so they fall back down despite all that endeavor. Anybody has anything else that I would really love to hear? Maharaj?
Yes, thank you. The cat and the monkey analogy is usually used in a different context about those who are devotees. And is it just that we devote ourselves and depend on Krishna to take care, or is it that we have to? How much do we have to put in? The personalists are worse off. They don't have a mother or a father. They're orphans. They don't even have a they. They want to hold their individuality in abeyance or annihilate it. But yes, but they certainly don't have anything to hold on to. So much can be said. Prabhupada's talked about this topic again and again. One other point made is that to developed the earth. That's the duty of the king, to see that the resources of the earth are used for the benefit of the citizens. And that means especially in agriculture, the earth, agriculture and natural resources, not big industries and manufacturing, plastic, this and that, but to see that the earth that is used. The arrangement is there. You put seeds in the ground, you add water, you add sunlight, then you tend to the crops, and you'll get food, which is the greatest necessity. But people don't want to do that. There's land is either neglected or it's turned into a part of a huge industrial enterprise in which we poison the land and we even drive up prices by artificial means. But we saw earlier there was a whole chapter dedicated to how Prithu satisfied everyone. And the main way that one does this by greatest possible production of food grains, which doesn't mean, yes, we could squeeze out more by this chemical or that chemical, but it means the unused land should be used, not that we just leave it aside for this reason or that reason. Even Israel, I'm not speaking politically, but they're, before they got into other things, they were known for exploiting what was essentially a desert region, finding ways and means to use it agriculturally. And there are other countries also where similar things are done, where the agriculture is neglected. And when we give attention to agriculture, we can grow. When, I think I've mentioned before, when the Soviet Union collapsed and Cuba was no longer able to obtain essentially endless amounts of petrol at concessional prices from the Soviet Union, the government rearranged things in such a way as to maximize agriculture, and with some success, from what I'm told, and not passing judgment one way or the other on the Cuban government and its pluses or minuses, but it seems they did that part right. That they said, all right, we can't depend on petrol anymore. So where are all the draft animals? Let's find every draft animal in the country and put it to work. Where's all the unused land that could be growing food for the citizens? So that approach is endorsed here. Hare Krishna.
For our next text, we have a hand. Please, Sham Sindhu Prabhu.
Sorry. The agriculture part is super interesting, but I actually want to go back to the monkey cat analogy. I remember I had heard it in class before, but it seems like it was explained perhaps differently than Prabhupada explained it. So I'm actually curious the context that Prabhupada explained in his purport.
About monkey and cat. The monkey cat example is Prabhupada doesn't really talk about very much. It has to do with a theological discussion, mostly between two differing parties in the Ramanuja Sampradaya, and which are still two different parties as far as I know. And I don't remember all the ins and outs of it, but essentially it was an argument about, on this point, are we more like, are we saying that we're more like the monkey, which holds on to the Lord, or are we more like the kitten, which just doesn't have to do anything? The Lord will take care. That was the context of the discussion. It's really the main part, as far as I've seen. This example is employed in a difference of opinion or a discussion between two parties within the Ramanuja Sampradaya.
Okay, we have something in the chat. Raveen Prabhu writes, so there are two ways to carry a baby, Prabhupada said, tapping his cane on the ground in time with his regular stride. There is the monkey way and the cat way. Do you know this? No, Swamiji, said Lilavati. Well, which way do you think is better? Prabhupada asked her. The monkey way or the cat way? She couldn't understand or imagine what he meant. Prabhupada continued. The monkey baby climbs on the back of the mother and holds on, and this is the way he travels. And the kitten is carried in the teeth of the mother. So which is better? Lilavati could still not understand which way could be better. They both sounded very difficult to her. Well, Prabhupada said, the monkey baby is very small and very weak, and he is holding on to the mother by his own strength. But the kitten is being supported by the strength of the mother. So which way do you think is better? And then she understood. The cat way is better. From Lilamrita.
Thank you, Prabhi. Yeah, there's Prabhupada speaking to that analogy. Very good. Thank you.
For our next text, Saraswati Mataji, are you available?
Text 8. Sutta uvacha tad adirajasya yasho vijrimpitam gunaresarer gunvat sabbhajitam kshata mahabhagavata sadaspata Kausharavim Prahagranantam Acharyan. Translation. Sutta Goswami continued, O Shonaka, leader of the great sages, after hearing Maitreya speak about the various activities of King Prithu, the original king, who was fully qualified, glorified, and widely praised all over the world, Vidura, the great devotee, very submissively worshipped Maitreya Rishi and asked him the following question. Vidur uvacha Sobhishikta pritur viprer labde shesha surahanaha viprita sa vaishnavam tejo bhavoryadbhyam dudogam. Translation. Vidura said, My dear Brahmana Maitreya, it is very enlightening to understand that King Prithu was enthroned by the great sages and Brahmanas. All the demigods presented him with innumerable gifts, and he also expanded his influence upon personally receiving strength from Lord Vishnu. Thus he greatly developed the earth. Purport. Because Prithu Maharaj was an empowered incarnation of Lord Vishnu and was naturally a great Vaishnava devotee of the Lord, all the demigods were pleased with him and presented different gifts to help him in exercising his royal power, and the great sages and saintly persons also joined in his coronation. Thus, blessed by them, he ruled over the earth and exploited its resources for the greatest satisfaction of the people in general. This has already been explained in the previous chapters regarding the activities of King Prithu. As will be apparent from the next verse, every executive head of state should follow in the footsteps of Maharaj Prithu in ruling over his kingdom. Regardless of whether the chief executive is a king or president, or whether the government is monarchical or democratic, this process is so perfect that if it is followed, everyone will become happy. And thus it will be very easy for all to execute devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Om Jnanantimirindasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. So here we learn how Vidura, a Mahabhagavata great devotee, and who himself is one of the Mahajans, an incarnation of Yamraj, is so happy to hear about the glories of Prithu Maharaj, and himself is offering praise and worshipping Maitreya Rishi, who is recounting these extraordinary feats of Maharaj Prithu And so it just struck out to me how this is the behavior of advanced devotees, that they always appreciate, acknowledge freely the glories and the activities of another great devotee. It's also, well, these are two of the processes of devotional service, Shravanam and Kirtanam. While Maitreya Rishi is recounting the glories of a pure devotee, Vidura himself is so happily hearing about this. And as Prithu Maharaj, we've been told, is Shakti Avesha Avatar, he's specifically empowered with Balan Shakti, the strength to maintain everyone. It's been quite clearly acknowledged that his activities and feats are completely unmatched. He was also of course, therefore, he was also blessed by everyone and worshipped by all the Denzians of all the planets who presented him with various gifts. And this was out of a sign of their great love for him. It's stated here that he exploited the earth's resources for the satisfaction of the people. But this exploitation isn't the sort that you equate the current corrupt conditional souls with. It means that Prithu Maharaj pulled the maximum resources from earth to maintain his prajas as sanctioned and instructed by Krishna and of course his agents, the sages. So his goal in obtaining these resources wasn't for personal sense gratification. It was in order to ensure that all the prajas, all his citizens, had their needs met and were firmly situated on the path back home, back to Godhead. And Srila Prabhupada mentions how everyone should employ the path that Maharaj Prithu chalked out in ruling over his kingdom. It said, Yad yad acharata shreshtas tatta deva taro jana. Whatever great people do, all others must follow in their footsteps. It's also said, Mahajano yena gatasa pantha. No one should be trying to manufacture or reinvent a path that's already perfect, perfectly set up and followed by all the great Mahajans. Hare Krishna. Maharaj, if you have any comments, please.
Yeah, just an etymological comment as to the meaning of the word exploit. Of course, as you brought out right now, it's like exploit is a terrible word. It has quite a negative connotation to it often. But the Oxford English Dictionary says that the etymological sense is something unfolded, brought out, or put forth. So the action of unfolding or developing. So that's the earlier meaning, or the meaning that we might look toward. It's not that we're trying to utilize for one's own ends, treat selfishly as mere workable material, make capital out of. That's not obviously what Prabhupada has in mind, but it's to unfold, to develop, to make use of properly. That's what we have in mind here when we hear about exploiting. The earth has been put here, arranged in such a way as to invite development. What an arrangement! You just you have this little seed, this thing called a seed, which doesn't, have to exist, but by Krishna's arrangement, it exists. And then there's water provided and sun provided, and then food is provided. No scientist has yet come up with anything so ingenious and effective that you just plant, like a little seed, and you get well, you can get an apple tree, you can get wheat, you can get so many things from the earth. You can't just scratch the earth and get food. You can't eat dirt, but the earth is arranged in such a way that it can produce what's the word? Almost extravagantly or luxuriously the needs of human beings, animals, everyone. So the intelligent management means to see that all of this should be properly used. Probably would see some unused land. Why is this land not being used to grow food? And where there is, it's amazing how the prosperity that if you look for it, you can find. I know there's movements in cities to develop, what do they call it? Like a little strip of land that you might find on the side of the street to use that to grow vegetables, to grow food. You'll see in India and elsewhere that strip of land next to the railroad tracks, which is unused land, but can be used to grow food. So much land can be used to grow food, and even land which is apparently unproductive can be made productive. So that's good management, to see that this land can be made productive. This land can feed our citizens. This is the first duty to see to this. Hare Krishna. And also, one last point, Prabhupada makes this point, why are we all concerned with this? Prabhupada makes it clear in this purport or previous purport, I think a previous purport, that we're interested in doing this because then the citizens can make spiritual progress. We're not just interested in seeing that the human animals are well fed, but that the human beings should be situated in such a way that by following their occupational duties, which is the other business of the king, they all make progress in Krishna consciousness. Not that everyone's battling with the food problem. Food problem is solved by the arrangement of a good government. And then, now we're unemployed. No, you won't be unemployed. There's engagement for everyone. And through that engagement, you can serve Krishna and become happy. And go back to Godhead.
Venkatesh Prabhu writes, I think I have heard once that our Gaudiya acharyas have reconciled both monkey and cat way as follows. Devotee works hard to progress during the uphill stages from the Shraddha Narta Nivritti up to Nishta stage. After that, for downhill stages, Ruchi Asakti up to Prema, Krishna takes over. Kindly comment on this, Maharaj.
I have no comment. I haven't read that. It would be some literature I haven't read, so I don't have an opinion or anything to say.
Praveen Prabhu writes, so if tomorrow a Rajarshi comes to power, he can still go on with nuclear oil manufacturing, as these are all resources from Earth? ?
Everything has to be seen carefully. But when you get, when you get the dependency on these complex technological arrangements, then you're going to have problems. And that's what we see. Govardhan Prabhu from South Africa, who is very much involved in the alternative an energy policy for the South African government, told me that the people in that sector, they can tell you practically down to the month when oil is going to run out. There's a year, a known year. By that year, practically speaking, oil will be finished. And then there's another year. By that year, natural gas will be finished, because it's not limitless. It's not limitless, and we have all the horrible results of this technology in so many different ways, which we don't have to spend time on here. The Prabhupada says, so these things may go on. It may not be that the king will immediately stop everything, but he has to see to the real prosperity, simple living, food grains. That's the first thing, more important than petroleum, more important than nuclear energy for huge industrial enterprises. Food. That's the real necessity. Without these other enterprises, we can still live. Without food, it's all over. So the king would see to the use of the land in such a way that food would be provided for all the citizens. And along with food, you get and cloth. If you have food, cloth, and place to live, you're good. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Saraswati Mataji writes, some people claim they are religious and therefore have renounced the treasures and bounty of nature. But we know this is incomplete renunciation, as everything is to be used in the service of the Lord.
I'm not sure who we're shooting at here, but the Mayavadis, everything is false. Jagan Mithya. Only the absolute truth is real. But the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, has made wonderful arrangements in this world. It's not that they're all false. I mean, what cheekiness, what ingratitude. Krishna makes every arrangement for you, and then you say, oh, this is all false. This is all false. Prabhupada says it's not false, but it's temporary. It's not that we can stay here eternally and enjoy the bounty of nature. That's another foolishness. But it's been these arrangements are made by God. And even if you say we renounce the bounties and treasures of nature, all right, you're not going to eat anymore. What renunciation are you going to do? You're not going to breathe anymore. You won't drink water anymore. These are all Krishna's arrangements. So much water is held in the oceans and then evaporated, becomes rain. And then you have water. Are you going to renounce that because it's all false? It's ingratitude. Imagine, your father is working and he's putting food on the table. You say, oh, this is all false. This is all illusion. It's ingratitude. But it's temporary. There's more than sitting at the table and eating. Prabhupada said yes, it is. In any case, it's ingratitude. It's all false. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, what is that? Vichitra. He prays that to the Lord that you've made such wonderful, varied arrangements. That's what I was looking for. I knew you'd come up with it, Praveen. Keshava tua jagat vichitra. This is in contrast to the Mayavadi. Jagan Mithya, the world is all false. We have Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Oh, Lord Keshava, your world is full of such varieties. You provided in so many ways for the needs of all living beings. So it's wonderful. Not that it's false. Not let me stay here forever in this material world, but still, your world is full of such variegated resources. So we don't say they're false, but we say that it's Krishna's ultimately it's from Krishna and it should be for Krishna. Shamsindhu Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, it's a little different, I suppose, than impersonalism, but maybe it isn't. But I don't know. But thinking on the point of gratitude, there's that saying in our prasadam prayer, this material body is a lump of ignorance, and the senses are a path leading to death, a network of paths leading to death. It can be kind of easy to get negative about the body, but that's the opposite of gratitude. So how do we realize the awful position we're in and still be grateful that we have this vehicle to work with?
You, dear Krishna, are very kind to us. You've given us prasadam. So we're grateful. Not that, the body's all Maya, it all leads to death, life is useless, let's commit suicide or merge with the impersonal Brahmajyoti. But let's acknowledge Krishna's gift that he's given prasadam to satisfy the tongue. And when the tongue is satisfied and all our needs are met, then it makes it very easy for us to glorify Radha and Krishna. Radha Krishna Gunaka. Preme Dago. And Chaitanya Nitai.
Perhaps then, Maharaj, when we deal with disgruntled people who come in who are mayavad by just anger at the world, we should just feed them prasad and be nice to them until their heart turns.
Everyone's dissatisfied, everyone's, but yes, give all these angry and disgruntled and frustrated, more than anything, frustrated. So many people have, America, New York, even the people on toward the bottom of the rung have so much in comparison to people in other countries, but they're naturally frustrated in so many ways, and the rich people are frustrated in so many ways. So rich or poor, we don't mind, but we want to be kind to everyone by giving them Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna.
Guru Maharaj, I have a question. Could you speak more about the gratitude of the devotees in relationship to the necessities of life, like food, air, water, these kinds of things that Krishna provides in a natural way?
Well, we should be grateful. If the impersonalists or the materialists are totally ungrateful, they won't even acknowledge that there's a supreme cause. It's all just nature, and it's there for us to understand and control. And then the impersonalists, they're not so far away. Everything, it's a product of Brahman, but it's false. Or it's false. So they're not much better. But the devotees acknowledge this is Krishna's gift. Then the lower stage, the theist, he acknowledges that it's Krishna's gift, so he wants to take the gift and enjoy. They're the pious karmis. That it's a gift from God, and let me get the maximum share and enjoy. But at least he's pious. He acknowledges it's God's gift. But then he thinks, let me enjoy it. But the more fortunate person thinks, let me use this gift in Krishna's service, or let me at least acknowledge the gift. Therefore, sacrifice. What does sacrifice mean? It means gratitude. You've given me this. I have to express my gratitude. That's the bare minimum. The maximum is pure love for God, unalloyed devotional service. But until we get there, at least let there be acknowledgement that this is provided by you, and we owe you a debt of gratitude. That much at least. But the gross materialists and the impersonalists don't go that far. But the devotees are naturally grateful. Krishna, you've given me everything. You've given sense gratification, you've given transcendental knowledge, and you've given your devotional service. You've given the holy name, you've given the whole process, you've come in so many forms. There's so many things the devotee can be unlimitedly grateful to Krishna for. Comes in the form of the spiritual master. So many reasons to be grateful.
We're going to take the question tomorrow because it's time for kirtan. That's all right.
I'll take the question anyway. It's just 2 seconds.
All right.
How can those who don't even have the basic needs remain grateful to Krishna? Poverty and so on. And still we see if a person is pious, even though he's in poverty, he's grateful. Because there's so many advantages that one has as a human being, even if one is poor. And rich materialist, he'll be arrogant and foolish. So therefore, it's proverbial that the poor man has a better shot at God consciousness. He can be grateful, while the rich materialist is an ingrate. Okay, let's have kirtan.
Krishna Konteya Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hare Hare Bol, Namo Srimad Bhagavatam Bhagavad Gita Sutta, Sri Srimad is my grace. Thus Maharaj could Prabhupada ki jai, Jayam Vishnu Pad, Bhagavatam Bhagavad Gita Sutta Sri Srimad, Mr. Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Jayam Vishnu Pad, Paramahansa Bhagavad Gita Sutta Sri Srimad, His Divine Grace, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami, Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Namachar Sri Thakur ki jai, Prince Ko Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Asari Gaura Bhakti Vrinda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees. Jai Sri Guru Rangaranga Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jayādvaita Swami ki jai.
Thank you very much to all. Thank you, Krishna Kautiya Prabhu. And thank you to Rasananda and all. Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.